Marcus Crowick is a business coach, profit-first professional, and entrepreneur with over 40 years of experience helping business owners take control of their finances and build profitable, stress-free businesses. In this podcast, you'll get real-world strategies and practical insights to grow, increase profits, and create financial stability. Whether you're a tradie, a startup, or an established entrepreneur, Marcus's straightforward approach will help you build a thriving business. This is Business Unlocked.
Hello, I'm here today with another old friend of mine, been around 20 years that I've known him for. His name's Mark Izzard. Mark's been involved in a few industries over the years. He's owned and operated his own security business, providing security to businesses as well as personal security, event security. He's also been the CEO of multinational security businesses. And now life's led him away from that industry to where he's sort of semi-retired, and he runs a garage door business on the central coast of New South Wales in Australia. I'd like to welcome you along, Mark Izzard.
Thank you, Marcus. Hello, everyone.
Great to have you here. Now, the name of your garage door business, so we'll give a plug for you before we start.
Thank you. It's All Suburbs Garage Doors.
All Suburbs Garage Doors. And I imagine from that, it goes to all suburbs. Well,
northern side of Sydney through to Newcastle.
Yeah, excellent. I should say you're involved in franchising some businesses, which sort of led you to this and into this semi-retirement type state that you're in at the moment.
Correct.
The point of this is to talk about lessons that you've learnt along the way in business. If there's some specific things that come to mind. When I had Julie Goodwin on, she was talking about that blink moment. It's just, what comes to mind is what we're going to talk about.
Yep.
So let me ask you that. When I say to you, what's one valuable lesson you've learnt from your years in business? What pops into your mind?
Well, it doesn't work as well with when you garage door business, but when I was in the security business, it was about treating other people the way you like to be treated. So maybe even with your clients, that you treat them with, respect and bit of understanding when you're talking about your product, how you would feel if someone was trying to sell to you.
So give me an example of that.
My number one bugbear is when people make an appointment, you get there on time.
Yes.
I'm not going to ring someone. I'll ring you back in 20 minutes. And then 2 days later, you're still waiting for that phone call. So that's a really big thing because that's my own personal bugbear.
And I know from you, you're in that category of if you're not 5 minutes early, you're 5 minutes late sort of
correct
idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do it correctly. But it came up again in the some of the other episodes I've recorded. We've talked about, I call it the three necessities of niche, which are turn up, preferably on time. It just starts there. And I mentioned, Shane Price that had Custom Cubbies, now Custom Outdoor Creations. And I remember Shane turning up to a job. He told me about it later on. He turned up and the people weren't there. And he rang the people and said, I'm here to do that quote. You need to look at your job and give you a quote. And they said to him, oh, you're there. You're the fifth tradesperson we've had out, and you're the first one to actually turn up on the job.
Yeah.
So when it comes to then that competition in the marketplace, it's one of those simple things you can do.
Be ahead
of the competition.
Just be there.
So turn up on time, show them your clients respect in that way. You talked about explaining the product. So give me an example of how treating them with respect, how you want to be treated happens when it comes to the product.
I think it's in the door business, there's a couple of major doors and it's about that price difference. And from my personal point of view, what's good value in a door.
Okay. So when you say major doors, you mean brands of doors?
Yeah, major brands. So, there's one particular brand that's, twice the price of the others. And once upon a time, it was a good value door, but now I don't see the value in it. So it's educating, and customers can do their research themselves, but sort of just put them on the right path.
Yeah. So if we looked at some of those characteristics, you might say years ago, see if it was good value for money compared to the others? Maybe it lasted longer, slid better, did those sort of things. But now the price difference doesn't make that work. And is that also that the other doors now last well, slide well, whatever it is you do in garage doors?
Yeah, generally a door lasts for 20 years, no matter what brand it is. Generally, so
yes,
so some people come along and they'll say, "I want this particular brand of door," and then it's the education process of why do you want such a door, and they'll tell you, and usually it's because I've heard it's the best. Well, once upon a time it was the best, but now the best value for you is this particular, and it's earning that trust, and it's all those things, when you're on time, or even when you're early, and in Shane's case, to be there when his customer's not there. He's already got one up, Not only has he just won the job most probably, but he's also one step up on the customer.
So is the other thing you're doing there, because the first thing you did there was ask them a question.
Yeah.
Is that one of the components of respecting that you're asking questions to actually understand them rather than forcing the product on them?
Lots of times a customer will say, I can always remember this fella. He said, "Oh, Mark, you were more expensive, but the other guy was all right."
Okay.
And
you can say whatever you want on podcasts. It's not TV.
He was a dick.
Anyway.
So the other bloke was a dickhead. And he said, "But you're more expensive." But the other bloke just told me everything, like he told me what I should do.
Yeah.
Other than he didn't ask me what do I want to do or what, because everything's about, a garage door is a garage door, but a real estate agent will tell you that it covers 70% of your home. It's the first thing people see if it's out the front. So it has a huge impact on the value of your home. So when I'm talking to a customer, it's always about, things like, I believe this is a better look because resale value.
Yes.
And they sort of think, they're sort of thinking about, well, it's just about opening and keeping all my stuff in storage. But the bigger picture is that, you want to look after the customer and give them better value. Well, part of the better value is in the resale value of their home.
And is that even comparing a new door that you're putting in, one's going to look better?
Absolutely.
Give that street value to it than
maybe
another one.
It's time you're going to the trouble of replacing a door. Maybe you should think about, cottage green is no longer an in colour.
Yes.
Get a new colour door. It means that you may have to paint eaves and all this other thing, but the value to your home.
So if you think about that in that return on investment type way, to cover the price of making the best decision with a garage door. So what are they now, $1,500, $2,000, something like that for a normal single?
Yeah. Yeah, for a single.
Let's say $2,000 to make that price up in the right decision on the value of your home. It's like that's nothing, is it? $2,000 in the value of a home. But if you get it wrong, you'll feel the $2,000 when you sell.
But I can't believe the customer. Sometimes they won't take your advice, and you're thinking, you're really getting the wrong colour.
Yes.
Or the wrong style. This is great back in the 80s.
Yeah.
But now you want to jazz your house up and get value for it, then, it's time to.
Yeah. So another idea I want to pick up on is the guy saying, basically, I like you better, or I trust you more. I'm prepared to pay a bit more to have you do my door than someone else do my door. Because I hear from lots of people about some of the online services offering quotes and whatever. The people are, the customer, just price driven.
Yeah.
But you're saying, well, you go out there and you win more money.
Absolutely. From all my knowledge, thanks to my business coach years ago. And, the price is like...
For those on the podcast, Mark just pointed to me.
So, but yeah, it's, price is down the list. Price is not where people think. It's one of those interesting things, like my wife's a life-loving relationship coach, and she thinks about scarcity, where people worry about their competitor, or they worry about there's not going to be, there's enough for everybody. If I find out I'm the third supplier to come and do a quote, I don't ask who the other two were and can I see a copy of the invoice. I quite frankly don't care.
Yeah.
It's,
Do you think that attitude, rather than show me their invoices and I bet, actually benefits you?
absolutely. I think it's, again, if it was me, I would think that was rude. If I was the customer
Yeah.
and if they were trying to sell me the door, no, I want your price.
But obviously price is a factor somewhere in there. Like you were saying about the door brands, if it's twice the price of the other one and it doesn't seem the right value, I'm not going to pay twice the price
So the variance could be
necessarily.
Between $150 and $200. So in the scheme of things, for the investment, that's most probably.
So you're in the ballpark.
Yeah,
that's the term I use. We're in the ballpark. It's not like you're that far.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, brands live on the fact that they are that far in excess. I was listening, if you want somebody to listen to, who I think 99.9% of the time is great, Rory Sunderland, an English advertising guy. He talks about Red Bull, and the first tests, everyone hated it. So instead of doing the logical thing, they were counterintuitive. They made the can even smaller and hiked the price up. And look at Red Bull now.
Yeah,
Grey Goose vodka, and another story of somebody who went and looked at all the bottles and made their bottle taller and hiked the price up and made them stand out. And then,
I suppose technically we could say every bar of chocolate and every can of vegetable in Woolworths is the same.
Sort of the same. That's right. Why do you make
They're all cottoned on.
Well, and that's where the behavioural psychologists get involved with what's the right colour, why in supermarkets they pay for shelf position. There's all these other factors that come into it, of course. So back to you, and the message here is you can win your price.
Yep, absolutely.
If you're within the ballpark, if really you're offering what might be perceived as the same service or product, if you win within the ballpark, you can win it.
Yeah.
When we first met running your businesses, you were always suit and tie.
Yep.
You were dressed as the CEO of a multinational company basically all the time, even when you were running your more local company.
Yeah.
Did that make a difference?
It's an interesting thing because I still have that same standard of presentation, not suit and tie when I go and put up a garage door, but I'm always clean shaven.
Yeah. And you have a uniform?
The basic very tradie uniform, but I still get.
So polo?
Yellow high-vis polo.
Branded?
No.
No brand anymore?
No.
But if you're semi-retired,
that's right. But even then, when you'll get a neighbour come up and, do you have a card? Well, at least I have a card, and it's always in the same place in the car, so I can quickly grab them.
Because one of the things I'd say to tradies is brand the car.
Absolutely.
A-frames, things like put items out where people can see.
Yeah, if I was generally trying to, generate the work, I'd certainly go and have a uniform. It's a small investment.
Yes.
And it's particularly if I've got more than you.
Yeah.
If you've got some offside.
But if you're turning up well-dressed, that first presentation moment is still sort of hits the jackpot in that they're not looking at you. So one of my things when it comes to that is you get the tick for being well-dressed, but if there's something wrong, it cancels out 7 ticks.
Yeah.
So making sure you're well-dressed, taking care of
the car is clean.
Yeah, okay.
My utes always, it's clean, and because you never know what's going to happen. Whether you're going to have a customer in your vehicle to take them down and I've had that once before.
So there's that general presentation and first impression that comes across from people when they see you, and removing the crosses that might come if you weren't like that.
Yeah.
Are there other particular systems, processes, items, ideas that you put in place to win the sale?
If I can't get the quote to them today, I'll let them know, please expect it by tomorrow afternoon or whatever, and get it through, hell or high water. They've got to get that.
Okay. So you're letting them know that they are going to receive a quote, letting them know the process.
That's right. And that comes with the information, brochures, everything electronic, but, so they generally, and the invite, of course, to, if there's questions, call me back or whatever, but generally the information I supply is enough.
So back to them pretty promptly to help them make the decision. I've known other people who have been in that position with their businesses and they're the first person back. Some of them, I know from a kitchen bench company, they'd have their quote back with all the other materials that went with it before other tradies had arrived. So when people were saying, I want to be the last one in, which is often the comment, I want to be the last one so I can get the pricing, win it on price, basically. Their attitude was, if we're first in, we get the best shot. And people would accept the job because of the process, the way they were dealt with, the information they were given. They go, we're happy with you, we'll go to you. Because, again, I suppose you don't really expect people to be that far apart.
No.
Like if I'm coming to you for a garage door and in my mind's $2,000, I don't expect that someone else is going to be 5 or 5,000 or 500, really.
Yeah.
You're not somebody who swears.
No.
I don't know that I've ever heard you swear, actually. I might make up for that. So, again, there's that rapport building. We always talk about know, like, trust.
Yep.
So they get on with you.
And that's, again, when you talk about that, it's part of the, I'm not there just to sell a door. I'm there to get to know my customer in that brief time. So to get a greater understanding of when you're asking them what their needs are for, and sometimes they've got a really nice Commodore or a nice Ford parked in the garage, so that gets on the conversation, or a bike.
Is that natural for you, or do you force that to get the rapport?
Well, if it's a Holden, I'd most probably force myself, but if it's a Ford, it's pretty natural.
But it's that natural curiosity and wanting to find out about people. Whereas some people, there's been lots of stories over the years of people forcing that rapport, like even to the point of lying. Oh, you got the kids there? I've got 2 kids at home, and they don't have 2 kids at home. There's that age early. I can remember current affairs stories about door-to-door salespeople doing that.
I think a customer possibly picked that up, though.
Depends on how good they are at acting. The overall thing is treat the customer how you want to be treated. There's ask them some questions in there to find out what they're really looking for.
Yep.
Give them some good advice, and start with turning up on time.
Early. I used to message or ring my clients, sorry, I'm going to be 2 minutes late.
Yeah.
That's late. That's absolute.
I completely understand. I used to do that. I had a client up in Muswellbrook where, for people who aren't local, that was an hour and a half from where I was living on the Central Coast. And she was a stickler for things as well. One of the points of culture for me was integrity, and to me that falls into integrity. Let people know if you can't meet your commitments, and let them know as soon as possible, as soon as you think that might happen. And I can't remember what happened, but I worked out somewhere along the journey that I was going to be 2 minutes late, and rang her and let her know, and she said if you hadn't done that, we would have ended our relationship. So really, really important.
And now we've got less excuses not to know exactly when,
absolutely,
Waze and all these other apps that we can now use.
I'd like to know how many people are like me. It almost doesn't matter where I'm going. I put the address in a sat nav.
Absolutely.
I know where I'm going.
I'm going
to
15 minutes up the road. I always have it on.
It does helpful things like there's an accident that happened the other day to me coming home. So why is it telling me it's going to be an hour until I'm home? And then there was an accident on the road, so I knew to go around it. So that's one of the reasons for me.
Isn't it amazing, though, that particularly in trades, because I don't know what Sydney's like, but certainly in the Central Coast, it was always, you're here. That's way better than we've ever had before.
I mean, you've showed up.
Yeah, right. Just the fact you're here. So if tradies on the coast alone
everywhere
attended, and then also attended on time.
Some language I formed up after dealing with my own clients and business people was turn up, on time's a bonus. You do the job so that it works is the bonus. Do the job properly. Really, really important.
Or finish it.
Yeah.
I got a pool fence once upon a time. Still got pieces of glass there where the pool guy didn't return.
Yeah. So do the job and leave it better than you found it, which means the guy that I was talking to about it, I think I've already mentioned it.
That's a good point too. That's what I always, with my rubbish, Always take everything away.
So this came to me from a client who was an electrician, and he dealt a lot with the commercial electrical work. And he would say to his guys, if we're in a room fixing the power point, but the light switch is dirty, you've got to clean the light switch because they're going to blame that for us. Or if a plumber's been in the room, so landscapers, so don't care who's on site. Particularly if you're the chief contractor, the fact that the excavating guy's been there and left his Coke can and paper, you've got to pick that up, because that's that first impression thing when the client comes home is not, as the landscaping's going on, the yard's a mess. The last thing they need to do is see your rubbish there, which just makes them go, gee, they're making a mess. There's that. They mightn't even realise. I'm saying there's that subconscious thing that takes place for people that is making them think what you're doing is bad, but it could be the rubbish. So clean it up. I've got so many examples of clients doing things, and people listening might think this is strange, where the end client doesn't actually know what they're doing. They're making sure that their experience is great, which gets them to come back, refer them, all of those things, of course. Also make sure that there's none of those red crosses against you as the person doing the job. You don't need that, because it's going to build on other things, possibly. If there's a problem, now you've got that in the way as well. It's going to, it's like in relationships, the little things come up, the straw that breaks the camel's back. It's not really about that. It's about this other stuff, but that's all going to get heaped on, and you'll win jobs by doing all the things that you said.
That's all, folks.
Great. Well, Mark Izzard, All Suburbs Garage Door. Great to sit with you, my friend, and give some great messages to people out there to help them in their business.
Thank you.
We'll see you another time, I'm sure.
You will.